My name's Kathy Labriola, and we're talking today about my new book, the Polyamory Breakup book, Causes, Prevention, and Survival. And in this segment of the video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 key causes of polyamorous breakups that are in fact related to being in a non-monogamous relationship. In the previous segment, I talked about the 7 causes that are not related to polyamory but are just as likely to cause your relationship to break up. These 4 things I'm going to talk about now are related to the non-monogamous nature of the relationship, and they are the most common polyamory-related causes of breakups. And I'm going to just name them and then talk about each one a little bit. The first one is a kind of ridiculously obvious one, which is being a polyamorous person and falling in love with a committed monogamist. Number 2 is falling in love with people that are polyamorous but that want a different model of polyamory than you do. The third most common cause is time and energy management problems. Having too many partners and not enough time for them, or just not being very good at managing your time. And the fourth one is jealousy. Some people are surprised that jealousy is actually rather low on the list. And I don't mean to imply there is no jealousy in the other 3 scenarios that I just mentioned. There is, but in those first 3 causes, jealousy is only a symptom. It's not a cause of the breakup. It's a symptom of a much bigger incompatibility that will destroy the relationship much faster than jealousy possibly could. So I'm going to talk about the first one, which is being polyamorous but falling in love with a person who is inherently monogamous. There's a lot of evidence that some people really are monogamous by nature. It's a relatively small percentage of people that absolutely seem to be monogamous by nature. Just as some people are 100% gay and some people are 100% straight, some people seem to be 100% monogamous. In their universe, sexual and romantic exclusivity is as important as oxygen and water, and they cannot be happy in a polyamorous relationship. The confusing thing is that they often don't know that until they actually try a polyamorous relationship and find that it makes them feel fundamentally unsafe and unloved and mistreated. They are not able to find a way to feel comfortable and to feel like their partner loves them if that partner is also having sex or relationships with other people. So often someone doesn't find that out until they enter a polyamorous relationship and try to make it work for them. And often the person who's polyamorous will then try to be monogamous to try to make it work for their partner. And so at any given moment, one or the other of them is totally miserable. Eventually, they usually are forced to give up and break up because those 2 worldviews are mutually exclusive. Making it even more confusing is that there's a big group of people out there that can be happily monogamous or can be happily polyamorous with the right partners, the right situation, or the right particular developmental stage in their lives. At some parts of their lives, they may want polyamory, other times they may want monogamy. So it's very difficult to sort out who are the inherently monogamous people and who are people that could kind of go either way. Being bisexual myself, I call those people the bisexuals of the monogamous polyamory spectrum. They can be happy either in monogamy or polyamory depending on the situation and the people involved. The second big polyamory-related cause of poly breakups is being polyamorous, falling in love with other people that are polyamorous, but falling in love with at least one person that wants a very different model of polyamory than you do. For instance, the most common problem I see in terms of mismatched models is that one person is in a marriage or a cohabiting relationship, and they consider that partner the primary partner. They consider that so-called nesting or cohabiting partner to be a priority over any other partners in terms of time and attention and who they're going to live with and share money with and be planning their lives with. And they fall in love with someone and have a relationship with someone outside of that primary relationship, but that other person also wants a primary relationship, and they're very unhappy that they've been somewhat relegated to a secondary status. So sometimes that model can be expanded. Sometimes everyone in the model can decide, well, this person already is my primary partner, but I can expand my relationship to allow for another primary partner. I can allow my other partner to become primary, and they can either live with us, or I can live with them part-time and live with this partner part-time. So sometimes that can have a happy ending, but much more often the person who is considered secondary will end up leaving because they're so unhappy with the situation. The third polyamory-related cause of poly breakups is difficulties with managing time and energy in order to maintain multiple relationships. The reality is that most people are busy with work and kids and other things, and they don't really have enough time to maintain one important relationship in their lives, much less two or three. So the wonderful aspect of polyamory is that you can be like a kid in a candy store and go out and have all these wonderful relationships with all these wonderful people. However, most people just don't have time for that. And so oftentimes people take on more partners than they can manage, and more partners than they really can keep them happy, or they only have one outside partner, but the fact is they really just don't have time for that person, and their partner at home is complaining that they're not getting enough, or they're about to get fired from their job because they're coming in late because they've been staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, being out having hot love affairs, things like that. So, or you're neglecting the kids, or you're neglecting your friends, or there's some, you're just not able to keep all those balls in the air and juggle all that. So I certainly encourage people to try to avoid taking on more relationships or more commitment in a relationship than you really can really comfortably deliver on, particularly because life doesn't always go smoothly, and if you can just sort of barely manage it now and then something goes wrong in your life and somebody gets sick or someone needs more attention, and then it's all going to fall apart. The fourth and last cause of open relationships or polyamorous relationships breaking up is jealousy. Most people who try to navigate a polyamorous relationship do experience some pretty intense jealousy, but a lot of people are able to learn to manage it, learn to reduce it, and learn to feel more comfortable in an open relationship. However, there are definitely a number or percentage of people that will just never be able to overcome that jealousy. There are three key reasons for this. The first one is Homo sapiens as a species totally suck at sharing. We are just historically terrible at sharing anything. Resources of any kind, whether that's land or food or any kind of natural resources, and we are especially bad at sharing our sexual and romantic partners' love and affection with anyone else. And so this has been historically true through the ages, and it's been very, very difficult for people to overcome this, and some people really are not able to. Number two, the second reason for it is that we are a militantly monogamous society, and we are trained and expected to be jealous. We are really taught from a very young age to feel entitled to our partner's sexual and romantic exclusivity. And we are taught to feel outraged if we are not able to have control over our partner's sexual activities and romantic partnerships. We believe that we have the right to control that, and we are that belief is really encouraged by our society, to the point where in some societies it's considered perfectly okay to kill your partner or spouse if you catch them having sex or having a relationship with someone else. So it's very hard to overcome that societal training and all that propaganda about monogamy being the one true way to have relationships. And so that is another key reason why jealousy is so hard to overcome. And last but definitely not least, another reason why it's so hard for some people to overcome their jealousy, or at least learn to manage it, is because so many of us have experienced pain, abuse, wounding in childhood or in previous relationships that has created a deep sense of insecurity and fear of abandonment. And putting yourself into a polyamorous relationship is just putting yourself in a situation where those fears and insecurities are going to be actively triggered on a regular basis. So for some people, they have just experienced too much pain in their past to be able to handle a polyamorous relationship, because they have a PTSD kind of trauma reaction to a polyamorous situation, and their jealousy is just off the charts. So it's important to recognize when you get involved in a polyamorous relationship, it just may not really be for you. You just may not really want to put so much time and effort into something that just may not really work for you. So those are the 4 polyamory-related causes of poly breakups, and they cause at least half of all poly breakups, and the other half are caused by more garden variety problems like sex, finances, etc. that were addressed in the previous segment of the video. Thanks for listening, and we're going to get on to the next video, which is talking about surviving a polyamorous breakup.